Welcome to She's Got Guts, where functional nutrition meets ancient wisdom to bring you grounded insights and practical tools for your wellness journey. Join Lara, licensed Eastern medicine practitioner and wellness wizard, and Molly, registered dietitian and gut health expert, as they unpack trends, tackle bloating, balance hormones, and help you thrive in modern womanhood without completely frickin' losing your mind. Let's do this. Today, I want to learn how mushroom coffee helps with digestion because somebody asked me this and I couldn't answer it. Hate that
I
for me.
know. And I hate that for you too. And I also thinking to myself, well, yeah, how does actually mushroom coffees help with digestion? And Chinese medicine, we have a lot of ways to explain that, but I want to be very clear today that Supercube was designed to help with all of your systems, to set your hormones up for success, and to help you have a cup of coffee without feeling like you're going to run to the restroom, without feeling like you have the super jitters, without feeling like you need to shove a donut in your face. And basically having a better experience with your coffee on day 1 and day 20, you're going to get a lot more benefits, which is what I kind of want to dive into a little bit today. So the reason why we love Supercube, it makes you feel good in 1 cup, and then sustained use helps with your systems. So what is in the digestive stack? Out of all of the ingredients,
Today is probably like day 700 for me for Supercube.
yes.
Because we've known each other 2 years, I
700.
think, exactly today.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yes. And it does make you feel better on day 1 and day 700.
And 700. Fuck yeah. Oh my God, that's so good. I love it. You know, when I put this together, a lot of the reason why I did it was because I was experiencing those hemiplegic migraines, which I'll just take 1 quick second to explain that. Like I was having mini stroke-like migraines. So I would lose vision on the left side. I would have this weird aura. I couldn't speak. I was like not making words. My face is numb. My chest is numb. My back is numb. My hands are numb. I'm having a mini stroke. These are familial. My mom used to get them. I don't know if people, if anyone in her family that were female above that got them, but I do know that I, got them from her. I cared for her when she was younger and she had what she called attacks. I noticed in my 20s when I was going through my, undergrad that I had like an uptick in them. And at that time, I was drinking black coffee on an empty stomach, driving down to Evergreen State College, and they had a beautiful swimming pool there. So I would like go swimming in their pool, and then I would like have a teeny tiny, then go to class, and then have a teeny tiny snack on the way back, and then go and work in my community college in the library. Essentially, I was nonstop, right? So my nervous system is all upticked. I'm running off of caffeine. And then I noticed that when I was like having different parts of my cycle where the hormones are either extremely high or extremely low. So the normal cycle, they're going to both be high, or maybe they were tanking. If I was also drinking coffee on an empty stomach, working out too much without enough fuel, and then maybe also having a stressful situation during my period, that was like a recipe for success for these. And so yeah, it was a recipe for success that they would happen. Yeah, but it was actually a recipe for disaster. I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm going to stop drinking coffee. And now I'm just going to maybe try some green tea or some matcha or some mate or something. But I'm going to surround it. I'm going to start like throwing stuff in there to see if maybe it will work better.
A lot of people do that. They have a bad experience with coffee. They find that it either stimulates them too much, gives them the jitters, or makes them have to run to the bathroom. And they are very sad, like, man, I have to give up coffee. It has all these benefits. I don't want to do that. So you're saying that you started to then add other things so that it would be easier for you to tolerate?
Absolutely. And I think I just naturally, as who I am, metabolize caffeine slower. So it's in my system longer, like in general.
Jealous.
But then some people digest it really fast. So they'll get extreme, I guess you could say benefits of coffee, like clarity and focus and all those things. But then they'll also have like a really legitimate crash afterwards. So the thing that's nice about Cube is that it helps for both of those. Finding ingredients that surrounded it. It was kind of around the time when bulletproof coffee was happening. So I was like, okay, I'll throw some fats in there and I'll throw some collagen in there or whatever. I was also in the middle of my training for my acupuncture school. So I was like, oh, there's some herbs in here I can throw in. So I started kind of throwing those things in there. And then later on, I learned, how to we turned it into a product. But the thing that I love the most about the cube is that there are these little mini stacks that are synergistic in the way that they work together in how they can help with your nervous system, how they can help with your digestion, how they can help your immunity, and how they can help with your hormones. And all three play into the latter. However, today I really want to focus on the digestive one. Like, what is it that actually helps with my mushroom coffee my coffee enhancing supplement, I should say, as opposed to these, powdered supplements out here that are masquerading as coffee. Like, you don't have to drink coffee, you can drink this. And I can guarantee you, nobody really wants to stop drinking their coffee, or at least find a way to make it work for them. And what's interesting is that I actually have had a lot of people say, I used to not be able to drink coffee, but now that I put this cube in here, I can. It doesn't take me down like it used to. And now I don't get sick as often. My digestion's better. My skin's better, whatever. So the ingredients that I would call our digestive stack are, I'm just going to name them first, are collagen, ghee, all four of the functional mushrooms, cardamom, schizandra, and the eleuthero, which is Siberian ginseng.
Now, I know collagen helps with your gut lining. It has all that wonderful restorative and rebuilding properties. It's got amino acids in it. What am I missing with collagen?
Yeah, well, I think with collagen, when we look at physiology, that is the main one that is going to help us with digestion. Like, that's the most tangible one that directly helps digestion. Like, when you have those little villi in your small intestine that are trying to help absorb things, collagen is there to help those flow as best as they can in the small intestine. They're going to make sure that you can bring in your food and nutrients that have been broken down into your into your bloodstream, and you can actually absorb and build with what you're bringing in, which is huge. And it's the quote unquote side effects of that are having great hair, skin, nails. You get, like you said, the amino acids. You're able to absorb protein passively. You don't have to chew anything in order to get protein in you, which is wonderful. I want to say like 10 or 20 grams of protein in each serving of cube. It's a good amount for the morning time. Like, if you're like, I'm just rushing out the door only having coffee, do not do that unless you have cube in there. It'll function a lot better.
Still don't do that.
So yeah, yep. And then it's true, a lot of people do that. And then I like ghee. Ghee is kind of known in Ayurvedic cultures as like a soother, or like a coating for the stomach, which I have seen in testimonials from a lot of people, that customers that use it, and actually they're crossover as patients that come in for heartburn specifically, or like GERD, or like a chronic cough that is actually presenting as, they will start taking Supercube, and they're like, holy cow, why? I don't understand why this is helping so much. And they're, every organism of those, every human is different on why that might be showing. For some of them, it might be that they actually have a little ulcer, or for some people, it might just be that they're, too acidic. For some people, it might be just they're a little sensitive to the digestion of coffee. But either way, cube will be helpful, because if you're putting in that ghee, it's going to pair up with the acidity of the coffee and help make that a little more neutral.
Buffer
and
it.
Also, yes, exactly. And also those fatty acids that are in the ghee are so incredibly wonderful for our brain health, for our hormone health, and for so many of our other cells and systems, that you're essentially putting in good, consistent fuel when you're putting in something that is a stimulant at the same time. And that's why it helps so much in terms of not only with your digestion, but also with your nervous system. How it directly helps with the digestion isn't necessarily just from coating the stomach, but it will also, when you slow down the activity of the caffeine, you slow down your body's stress response, which sounds kind of bizarre, but they are directly connected. You drink coffee when it's naked, that's what we call it. When you drink coffee naked, I mean, you're welcome to have no clothes on and drink your coffee with Supercube, but please don't drink the coffee itself naked, because that's the biggest message I would love for everyone to take away today is that the nervous system and the digestive system are so incredibly tied together. When you have an upticked nervous system and you are responding to the emails that are coming in, and you're responding to your kids' response or your requests, and you're trying to get the meals together, and you're trying to make sure the cat's fed, and you're making sure that the lizard has the light on it, and all of the other things that you're trying to do in life. And all of that's happening maybe in the morning, and all you can do is grab what you know is going to help you feel better and give you a little bit of energy and clarity and creativity and all the things you need to like get your day going. And that is low grade fight or flight most of the time. I don't know a lot of humans in this world right now that can actually manage that in a Buddha-like state. If you know them, I need to be around them and literally start nibbling on them so that I absorb the way that they move through the world. I just really don't think that those people exist. That's really difficult.
And we've all been there. Because I used to be one of those people that I would say, I cannot function. I can't do anything else until I've had my coffee. Like I can't even drink water. And I've since reformed. I can drink water. But with this, with the addition of the Super Cube, it makes because when you do that, then the caffeine kind of also, I feel like, takes over for your energy. So you don't need energy from food, especially during that initial peak. And you're not really thinking about food because it's an appetite suppressant and you're a little dehydrated. And then it's like you don't know that you better be getting something else in your body until it's too late and you are crashed out. And, a lot of people explain that too in the afternoon, like with the iced coffee jitters, because you haven't eaten in the afternoon, more than likely. So when you add cube, and what I like to do, like even for iced coffee, is just like do like the hot short pour and then add whatever I add and then add ice, is it really does make it so that you're, number one, still aware of your hunger cues in the morning, which I think coffee naked, you're not. When you're just raw dogging it, you don't have those same hunger cues. Cube, like because I think it stimulates some digestion with the collagen and the ghee, obviously, because we're digesting fat and amino acids. Then you are setting yourself up for an experience that when that coffee wears off is going to be much different than if you had just jacked up every, neurotransmitter and then watched it all come crashing down.
Exactly. So when you put yourself in that highly stimulated state, that is synonymous with the sympathetic nervous system. You are in a low grade fight or flight. And when we're in low grade fight or flight, there are some things that we have adapted to be able to do over the years. Like we may be able to do a little bit of digesting, but it's not in any way, shape, or form going to be optimal. Most likely it's kind of shut off. We're the opposite. We're either in fight or flight, parasympathetic, and then again, somehow we've evolved into being able to do this weird low grade thing where we're in between. And we don't exactly know what's happening there. But if you don't feel good, most likely you're just trying to navigate that space. And Supercube can be very supportive during that space. But your digestion, essentially, when you raw dog coffee, will be turned off. Or you will just run to the bathroom and shit your pants because it has taken your nervous system and upticked it so high that you literally think you're running from a bear. And you might be really creative running from that bear. You might have great mental focus when you're running from that bear. You might even have a really fast heart rate when you're running from that bear. But you don't need to run from a fucking bear. That's not the point.
You can't run forever.
So you will and you will have a quick digestion. All those things that I mentioned before when you're in that fight or flight aren't actually terrible, but we don't need them to be on the highest alert and the extreme of all of them. So what Supercube does is it puts this beautiful blanket over the top of it. It holds you down and makes you feel grounded in that place of when you're about to uptick into fight or flight and you just literally don't go there. But you still do get the creativity from the coffee. You get the you get the energy, you get the motivation. And the one thing that I like to really say is you get the inertia. You get like a sustained inertia. And one of the things that I've noticed being perimenopausal, and also from the perimenopausal sitting in front of patients, sitting in front of me in my clinic, is that is a very difficult part of navigating this time, is that when you have a lot less fucks to give, the inertia to get things done that are quote unquote on the list that need to get done is really difficult. And Cube is so helpful for that initial inertia at the beginning of the day. Like, sincerely. It doesn't just make you feel like, oh my God, I better just use my caffeine energy right now and get everything I need to get done. And then I'm going to shove a donut in my face and everything will be fine. Then you're down. And you're like, why do I feel like shit? Well, okay. I'm pretty sure maybe you understand why you might be starting to get the picture now.
Well, and it's like when you squeal your tires and then slam on the brakes and squeal your tires and slam on the brakes, you need new tires a lot faster than if you just drive at a normal pace.
Right. Yep. And, the other ingredients that we have in there all are very Chinese medicine medicinals. The 4 functional mushrooms, the cardamom, the schizandra, and the ginseng are all from the medicinal pharmacopoeia that we use. And they cross over into what people use in like European medicinals, and here in the US and such, it's fine. Some of them are even used in the Ayurvedic tradition. But I chose them because I wanted the formula to have a really strong foundation so that when your caffeine wears off, there is something there. So initially, these fats and these collagen, the fat and the protein, are going to hold you down. You get this feeling of anchoredness. But then you want this stamina. And you're like, where's that going to come from? How do I lengthen the way that this groundedness feels? And that is when we give you things that nourish the stamina, that give you that sustained sense of energy. And that's where the functional mushrooms and the ginseng come in. So the ginseng kind of kicks in when your energy drops from coffee. But the beautiful thing about ginseng is that it enters the spleen and the stomach channel and it enhances digestion. So when you are in that place of being stimulated, you still have the ability to be able to recognize your hunger cues. It doesn't just shut it off to where all of a sudden you have to have that iced latte jitter place you were talking about, which I'm like so sad that people are doing that. I'm like, no, please don't do that.
I know.
You're going to have a terrible period is the first thing I think with that. I'm like, your report card is not good. You got a D. Sorry, don't do that. It might be satisfying in the moment, but again, you only have that like probably 30-minute window. Like, is it really worth it? 30 minutes? It's just not. So the functional mushrooms are great. Those are going to help with the immune system over time, right? We all know that the turkey tail is wonderful for our, it's anti-cancer. It's going to help with the mitochondria. The cordyceps is literally the medicinal that we use to quote unquote bring you back from the dead. People use it in weightlifting. People use it in post-cancer treatment. It's really meant to create life inside of you. And when you're asking coffee to create life inside of you from nothing, like literally just using your own body's energy up to create this energy in the morning, we have put these medicinals in there that help with creating that energy on its own, whilst getting the coffee benefits, which is why we are not a coffee substitute. Although you can drink it as a coffee substitute. I mean, if you don't do coffee, you might notice it works just the same.
Yeah, totally. And these other mushroom coffees, sorry to interrupt, have coffee in them. They have instant coffee in them. So that's one differentiator, is that you do not. And I think that's important to remember, is that you have the ginseng, and I believe lion's mane also is a bit of a natural stimulant. But other than that, you're not putting coffee in there.
Stimulant for the brain. It's a nootropic. And so it has that like stimulant factor there, which is great, right? So it's just going to piggyback on the already creativity and brain energy that you're getting from the coffee itself, which is wonderful. And then the reishi, I think of that as connecting in with when you feel like how you feel the reishi is, I think, connecting in more with that collagen and ghee, and that you feel that grounded sensation, because it can often race your heart. And I'm not saying that reishi is slowing down your heart rate. I'm just saying that reishi is a heart tonic. And so you do have this energetic feel of, oh, I actually don't feel like I'm running a race right now while I'm just sitting staring at my screen because I'm so jacked up. Like it definitely helps make that feel more soothing. And then the last one, cardamom. I love cardamom because of its flavor.
So
And
good.
it happens to, it's so good. Yes. And it's subtle in there. It's very subtle in there. And it also enters the spleen and stomach. What I like about cardamom is that when we say transform dampness in Chinese medicine, we mean get rid of bloating. So if you typically are feeling a little bloated, that's maybe why you go to when you sometimes go to restaurants and they'll have the little fennel seeds or something you can chew on afterwards. Think of that like this for coffee. Like cardamom is very synonymous with bringing down that sensation of bloating. And then, I'm sorry, this isn't the last one. Schizandra. Schizandra is the last one. In Chinese medicine, we call it wu wei zi, which I just love that name. It's so fun. It also enters its spleen and stomach, also heart, but then also kidney, which I think is really important. And what it does for the kidney is it also pairs with that same energy I talked about, that grounding energy with the reishi and the ghee and the collagen. It's very similar with that in that it is what we call astringing. So when you drink coffee, if you don't have any of that in there, all of the energetics of coffee is going to go up and out, right? Like you're going to get a little bit sweaty and everything's going to come up to your head. And, with the benefits of coffee, that's actually great. But again, it can be very extreme. So we want to make it as optimal as possible. Yes. And so the Schizandra is astringing. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to hold on to a bunch of fluid, but what that means is it's going to counteract the extreme nature of the coffee, which is very diuretic, and not leave you super dehydrated. It's also going to anchor down that heart energy. And the number one thing that I love this for that also increases the efficacy of the mushrooms and the ginseng here in the digestive stack is that all of these things nourish our jing, which when you drink coffee on its own, you are asking your jing or your life force or your pilot light to release a little bit without replenishing it at all. But when you put in Supercube into your coffee, you are nourishing your jing at the same time as you are maybe asking it to do some work, which leaves you at not only like an energetic even point in terms of what, you're expending in your morning, but it also gives you that long-term benefit. And things like Schizandra and the mushrooms and the cardamom, all of those together help nourish that jing, which directly helps with our digestion. It's like the little pilot light under the little fire underneath our digestion. If it's not bolsterous enough, we're not going to have as much ability to bring in our food and nutrients. So keeping that jing alive is what helps us feel energized, but not frazzled.
When Brian was on our podcast, he talked a lot about jing in the sexual way too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Didn't he? Okay.
Yes. Because it's like the energy you've been given from your parents. You can kind of think of it as like your telomeres or your genetic blueprint or like how you're going to unfold. This is what you've been given. We look at it as like a ball of energy. Are you going to nourish it or are you going to use it up? Like people with addictions and people that, maybe over-exercise or people with maybe long-term genetic troubles, they may end up, or chronic and continuing illnesses, they don't necessarily have the space within how their body is functioning to be able to nourish up that jing. Right. Whereas if you have the opportunity and things are kind of set up for success, but then you're going in and throwing in coffee naked, no, that's just going to strip that jing. It's going to wear it down over time.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Well, it makes a lot of sense because when we look at it overall, like I appreciate you breaking that down. We've got ingredients just like with digestion itself. It's not one thing. You need a couple things that work together. And those things have to involve your nervous system. They have to involve your stress tolerance. They have to involve your digestion. And so you've kind of taken the spiritual concept of gut healing and the physiological concept of gut healing and put them all in one place, but in a way that is like something you can use every day versus just like some concept. Like I feel like when you break it down like that, it makes a lot more sense that this is not only why it helps these other things, but also why it would help your digestive system. And so to me, the consumer who's like, oh, I notice that, I don't have that like jack up energy and then crash of energy. It's really cool to hear that not only am I doing that, but I'm also nourishing my life force and my nervous system and everything else.
Yeah. And setting the tone for the day with our nervous system and the world that we live in is probably one of the most important things we can do right now. And you'll see a lot of
Mhm.
stuff out there on the gram and the TikToks and talking about how, you need to meditate in the morning. Yes, of course. I would never tell anybody to not meditate in the morning. Maybe go out on a walk. Yes, of course. Do that. If you can't do those things, or if right now all you're doing is waking up and stressing out and watching Instagram when you wake up in the morning, and then you're like, oh, I guess
Mm.
I'll just sit at the screen and start working now. And then you're drinking coffee naked and you've gone
Mhm.
4 hours and you're like, okay, I'm kind of like feeling, as you said, spiritually, maybe a little bit better right now because I just accomplished 4 or 5 things. However, now I'm completely depleted and now I need to
Right. start
start all over again. And my body wants to take a nap because that's essentially what I need to do in order to reset. So if that's kind of like your jam right now, if that's how you're moving through the world, a very easy thing to do would be to just incorporate 1 scoop of Super Cube and froth it in your coffee. And it actually tastes really good.
It's really good. We'll put a link in the show notes.
And I would love for y'all to try it. Please do.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We offer personalized support to clients in many ways and would love to work with you. Reach out to Lara at Lala's Wellness and Molly at Women's Gut Health for more information. Unlock your full health and hormone potential with SuperCube, Boom Bomb, and Best Tea. Check out the link in the show notes for more. See you next Saturday.